Yes, under the present circumstances. Let me explain. There are two rules involved in the present situation, a general rule and a specific rule. The general rule is that a public official under preventive detention for a criminal offense filed in court cannot hold public office while in preventive detention. That is Trillanes versus Pimentel. Trillanes was charged with coup d'etat, non-bailable offense, and he wanted to attend the Senate sessions to vote in the Senate proceedings, but the Supreme Court said no, because you are under preventive detention, you cannot hold public office. And that follows an old case, People versus Maceda. So that is the general rule. But there is a specific rule involving two situations. Under the Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act, Republic Act 3019, it says a public official charged in court for any violation of the Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act shall be suspended from office while the case is pending in court.
Is that
Shall
right?
be suspended from office while the case is pending in court. That means, since it says any violation of the Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act. So even if the penalty does not reach reclusion perpetua, it's just, let's say, 12 years imprisonment, and bail can be granted as a matter of right, it says any violation. So it means any kind of offense under the Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act. The public official shall be suspended from office while the case is pending in court. This is several cases already, and the latest is Bunye versus Escarial. That's the first rule. There is a second rule, and it involves a later law that adopted this particular rule in the Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act. The plunder law came later, but it has a provision similar to the Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act. Section 5 says, any public official charged in court for any violation of the plunder law shall be suspended from office while the case is pending in court. So even if a person charged under the plunder law is granted bail, he is suspended from office. What is the rationale for the suspension under the Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act and under the plunder law for any kind of offense? The reason is to prevent that public official from influencing the witnesses against him. And normally the witnesses are subordinate employees of that public official. So you have these two rules. You apply this now to the present situation. There is one official senator who was already arrested on that day when the Senate held its session. He was already charged with plunder, and the penalty is reclusion perpetua. That means it's not bailable if evidence of guilt is strong. But whatever the case is, he was charged under the plunder law. So that means he shall be suspended from office while the case is pending in court. So Senator Jinggoy Estrada is now suspended because the court has repeatedly held that this is mandatory. This suspension under the Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act, which was incorporated in the plunder law, is mandatory. And that means it's automatic the moment you are charged in court before the Sandikabayan. So under the general rule, while you are under preventive detention, you cannot hold public office. So Jinggoy cannot hold public office while he is under preventive detention. He is under preventive detention. Now, under the specific rule, under the plunder law, he shall be suspended from office while the case is pending. So the question is, if a senator cannot hold office because there's a case against him, uh, and he is suspended from office because there's a
Oo.
plunder case against him. Can he vote in the, let's talk about that
The
vote,
Senate
can he,
leadership. The Senate
the change
leadership.
of leadership first, can he vote?
Oo.
Will he be counted in determining the quorum? Is a quorum based on 24 senators or is now 23 minus Jinggoy Estrada? If you
Minus
are
pa ba to?
suspended
Minus
from
bato pa.
office, if we, no, saka na si Bato, different
Okay.
case yun. If you are suspended from office, that means you cannot exercise the functions and powers of that office. And one of the function and power is to vote, to attend the session. You cannot exercise that. You are suspended from office. Now, also, under the first rule in the Trillanes versus Pimentel ruling, while in preventive detention, you cannot hold office. So under these two rules, Jinggoy cannot hold office, cannot exercise the functions and powers of his office. So will you count Jinggoy in determining the majority of the Senate? Because in the change of leadership, lower leadership outside of the Senate President, it just says, the Constitution just says majority of the Senate. But in the rules of the Senate, it says majority of all the members of the Senate. Let's tackle first the majority of the Senate. My position is you cannot include Jinggoy because he has been suspended. He cannot exercise the right to vote in any proceeding in the Senate, and he cannot hold public office under the Trillanes doctrine.
Oo.
Now,
Okay.
so he
Yeah.
cannot be counted. So there are only 23 voting members of the Senate, and 12 is a majority. That's the quorum.
Oo.
So now, can the Senate rules prevail over this, over the provision of the law, the plunder law? I don't think the Senate rule can change the plunder law, that the moment it is pending in court, the public official shall be suspended from office, and this is
Oo.
mandatory. It cannot
Yun
be.
pala. Yeah.
Then,
Hindi, yun,
yeah. So that rule cannot prevail over the law because the law is higher than a Senate rule.
oo. Oo.
Now,
All right.
so okay.
Yeah.
So my position is that the change of leadership up to the Senate pro tempore is valid because there was a quorum. The quorum is based on 24. 12 is a majority. So there was a quorum. They can properly declare all positions vacant.
Yun.
So all positions are vacant and they elected, but they did not elect the Senate President because they were still in doubt whether it is a majority of all the 24 or a majority of the voting. Now, that is not yet resolved because they did not vote. So bottom line, the election of the pro tempore down is valid.